Welcome back, horror fans, to another movie review. And this one, the one we've all been waiting for, the grand finale to the Michael Myers versus Laurie Strode, showdown franchise. The last goodbye to Laurie Strode, no matter who lives and who dies. This was it. This was Halloween Ends. And I could not have possibly had lower expectations. One, because I've been very vocal about it. I absolutely hate kills. And as time goes on, the more I see it, the more I think about it, the more I don't like it. I think it's one of the worst entries in the franchise. So, it's not the worst, but it's one of my least favorite. So going into Ends, I was like, well, I'm not going to do this. I think a lot of it had to do with hype. Like when kills are so hyped.
Yeah. I mean, it was delayed a whole year because of COVID. Right.
So you have an extra year of marketing, and you have things like John Carpenter saying it's the definitive slasher film, and things like that. It was a ton of hype, and it just didn't deliver, in my opinion. Some people love it. So going into Ends, expectations unbelievably low, and I will say, I have two sentences, spoiler free. Well, let me say first of all, this is a spoiler free review. And I am going to do everything in my power to not share any pivotal plot points and things like that. That said, I think this movie is better going in blind with expectations low. Because it is different. And there's a reason people are saying it's so divisive. Because it is. And I get why. But there are some things I want to touch on that are not spoilers in my opinion, but they touch on a little bit of plot details that I think would be more fun to see it blind. So what I will say is it's worth your time, in my opinion. I think it's worth it. You should see it. But there is a chance it pisses you off.
Yeah, definitely. If you didn't like kills, there's a chance that you will like this.
Yeah, I think if you hated kills for the same reason we hate kills, barely like the lack of story, characters don't matter, etc., I think Ends is certainly better.
Yes.
If you love kills and you just love that brutality, you're gonna fucking hate Ends.
Yes.
So that's what I would say. Maybe there's a chance you like both. I don't know, but it seems kind of unlikely. So just keep that in mind. Go see it. But now I'm gonna again very light plot points. Okay. My first sentence I think was gonna offend people. Okay. Every second of Halloween Ends is better than Halloween Kills, in my opinion. Every second. Every fucking second of it, I think is better.
I think I agree, yes.
The other one that's going to be controversial. The movie is very good, or at least good, until Michael shows up.
I also agree with that.
Who saw that coming? Who saw that coming, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it is very well known. I mean, even if you didn't watch a single trailer, you know the plot points. There is two killers, if you will.
Yeah, at least at least we know that much, or at least someone who wants to be a killer. Let's say.
Yes.
Yeah. So we kind of knew it was going to be more of this copycat killer route, and it did kind of it went that route, but it went there in a kind of a more unique way than I thought it would.
Yeah.
So okay, let's start with the pros. All right. So for me, it does have a story. Nick's a little sick, if you can't tell.
Yeah, but I had to go see it.
Yeah, he's on his way out. He's not looking good.
It's a bad cold. It is not COVID. I took a test, I promise.
You fucking better come down this basement. No mask. So the pros of the movie, I think I like the fact that it has an actual story, a beginning, middle, and end. It is comprehensive, and it makes sense. That is one thing Kills cannot say.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. It is driven by character development. It is actually driven by the characters that most of which you know and love. Like Allison is a huge part of this movie. I love Allison and Laurie's relationship, and I for the very little bit we get of Lindsay, I like seeing her.
Yeah, it was not a lot.
Yeah. But I still think it was more than I thought we were going to get, because I thought she was going to be like one shot and that was it. But yes, basically Kyle Richards, unfortunately, once again, is pretty fucking useless in this movie.
Honestly, probably less screen time than Kills.
Probably.
I think, yeah.
And then Hawkins is barely in it, but he's a cute little bastard when he is.
True.
Yeah. So this is finally Allison really gets a time to shine and
Yes.
have some development, but there are some flaws with her. I think a little bit the way she, once again, for some reason, despite what she went through in Kills and 2018, she gets to a point again where she questions her mother's or grandmother's decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you probably haven't you learned, you know?
I mean, in my opinion, it looked like she was there. They were good.
Yeah.
And then just flip of a switch, it kind of just like, no, grandma.
Yeah, and there's some things once we talk about spoilers, which we're going to on our podcast, Make Every Death Count. We're going to do a big spoiler discussion.
Yes.
That should be out right now. If this review's out, that review should be out. So go check that out if you're interested in a spoiler discussion. But yeah, it is. There's some certain things that happen between Allison and Laurie that are, I think, great, and there's some things that I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem to be very accurate based on what happened in their relationship with 2018 and Kills.
Yes.
So. Yeah, I think the Corey Cunningham backstory, and we all kind of knew where that was going, and the whole copycat type of killer. I love the intro. I thought the intro to establish Corey Cunningham and his babysitting experience.
Yes.
Fucking loved it.
Yes.
I love that. It was great. I mean, what a way to. I think that's the best opening out of 2018 and Kills and Ends. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
that's it. I love the title card and the opening credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because they are a direct reference to Halloween 3, and I love this time around the way they handled the jack-o'-lanterns. I thought it was sick. I thought it was really cool. So, yeah, it was way better than Kills in that regard, and that's just like a Halloween, nostalgic thing.
Yes.
It's not a big deal if it's good or bad in that category, but it made me happy to have a cool opening credits.
Absolutely.
And I think Corey, in the way he's developed in general, is okay. It's at least intriguing. I was intrigued with his backstory and the way his character was being developed and his relationship with Allison, all of it. I was intrigued.
Yeah, and especially in that opening sequence, you think that it's going to go one way, and then it goes in another way.
Oh yeah,
and
sure
that was really cool. I'm like, oh shit, okay, oh no, oh wow,
yeah, yes.
It was interesting. It was interesting for sure.
Yeah, but so, like I said, my controversial sentence of it's good until Michael shows up. I really mean when Michael really shows up. But Michael, even the scenes that he's in there, he's not truly involved. I was like, this is kind of shitty.
I have to agree. It was definitely not what I was expecting. And then every time, we get to one of those scenes, I'm like, okay, now we're good. Now Michael's showing up, and he doesn't. And then okay, now it is. Now he's not.
Yeah.
It isn't finally till later on.
Yeah, and even then, it's so. I've heard. I read another review that said the same thing, and I thought they were going to be wrong and just exaggerating, but that the climax, the final showdown between Laurie and Michael, is fucking bad, and it's not because the actual action itself is bad. It's because every beat, every second of that moment is spoiled in the trailers. Every second, there is nothing new to be seen, really, at all, from trailer to movie on that climax. It is fast, it happens quick, and then all of a sudden the movie's over. You're like, what the fuck just happened? An hour and 51 minutes, and you're spending an hour and 40 of it doing the exact opposite thing that you would say the marketing was telling you were going to see.
Yeah. I wasn't looking at my clock on my phone because I was bored. I was engaged for the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree.
But I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, we're finally here. There's only
the movie ends in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That legit happened. I was like, what in the world? It took so long to get there. And when you do finally get there, and I think they had a potential to really end on this big high note that would have kept fans cheering, it just wraps up. It's like, oh, okay.
I don't think that the actual true ending after the climax even was very satisfying at all.
No, I don't think so either. Here's the thing. As a movie, just an entry to the Halloween franchise, it was interesting enough. It was weird and different, and it was interesting enough to keep me intrigued.
Yes.
And I think compared to the other weird and different Halloween movies, like your Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Halloween 6, Halloween 5, I think it heavily surpasses those. Mm-hmm. But for a final showdown, a final climax, the last time you're going to see Laurie Strode, potentially the Strode family at all, it is dog shit. absolute fucking dog shit when it comes to that category. Like, it is so bad. It is a horrible goodbye to Laurie Strode, to the Strode family, and it's just like, it sucks because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole marketing, and you knew it too. That's the problem. You fucking knew it because you marketed the entire film that way. Laurie, Michael, one last showdown. Only one will survive. It's all right there. That you've been pushing it and pushing and pushing it,
Yep.
and you just didn't deliver in that category at all.
Right. I mean, it was so unsatisfying. I mean, on the drive home from the theater, I was looking up. There was the rumor that there were 2 different endings because Jamie Lee Curtis says it's so good you're going to want to see it twice on both.
Yeah.
Peacock. So
yeah, she said I think you'll want to watch it twice.
yeah. So I was looking it up, couldn't find anything. We did look on Peacock.
Yeah.
And no change in the ending.
Yeah, it's the exact same unless there's like little changes in the middle, but I highly doubt it. So yeah, it just, I don't know. In that way, I think as like OG Halloween fans, Halloween's a favorite movie of all time. If you're looking for this beautiful wrap up where it's gonna bring tears to your eyes, Jamie Lee Curtis is done. It ain't there. It's not,
No.
and I don't think it's not emotional at all. Really, it certainly wasn't erotic. James Hugh Courtney.
Yeah, I was not aroused or deriving pleasure, whatever the definition.
Yeah, to arouse or whatever. Yeah,
It was not erotic. I'm sorry. I wanted it to be, but it was not.
yeah, it's just that in that category, it's certainly disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But because my expectations were so unbelievably low, I found myself enjoying the experience of seeing it in theaters, even though I don't think it necessarily succeeds in many ways.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, sitting on the drive home, I'm like, that's the last Halloween movie in theaters for probably a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, was it that as good as we're talking about right now? Was it as good? It's definitely better than Kills. I'll tell you that much. We need to sit on it for a few days. We will be doing a ranking.
Yeah.
I don't know about public or just for members or make every death count because it could be very long.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where I'd rank Ends. I know it'd be above Kills, but it's not. I mean, it's probably not in the top 5, top 6, top 7.
I'm not sure. Maybe I got to watch it again
It's
after
low.
I let it sit a little bit.
I would say it's in the latter half of the list for sure. But it's still because I was in a different mindset when going to see this in theaters. I didn't walk out as pissed off or disappointed because I was expecting a failure of a movie, and it only failed in some ways, not always.
Yeah.
So that's our thoughts on it. If you're gonna give it a score out of 10, what do you think?
Oh man, I was just thinking that I it's hard. I think I give it like a 6.5, 7. That's the most.
Man, that's generous. You're nice.
I don't know, 6.5.
I would give it. I'm gonna say a 5.5. I'd give it a 5.5, and that is just because I really think it does the Strode family, that whole legacy of characters.
Yeah.
I think it does them pretty dirty.
Yeah,
But it has its moments, and it was at the very least intriguing. Considering I give like Kills a 4, it stepped up a little bit.
yeah.
It just really doesn't deliver at the end there.
No, not at all.
That's our thoughts. If you've seen it, let us know yours in the comments below. And like I said, if you want to see our spoiler-filled discussion on Halloween Ends, you can do so at Make Every Death Count, our podcast. Link in the description below on that. But yeah, that's that. When's the next time we're going to see Michael in theaters? My guess, 2026. I think it's going to be sooner than later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was thinking probably 2030.
20. I mean, it could be that long, but I think if we see things like F-13 come back and if Nightmare on Elm Street comes back, I think there's going to be some pressure to have Michael come in at the same time again.
I mean, the amount of money that this trilogy has made, you would think they'd be wanting to figure out a way to get him back on the big screen.
Yeah, you'd think, but we'll find out. All right, but that's going to wrap this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more updates, or excuse me, reviews. Not so much, mainly updates. Like our other videos. All right, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.